In this video, we wanted to talk about all of these lines and creasing that you see in the surface of the skin of this leather seat. These lines are completely natural and you will not be able to actually remove them. What we can do is, in the prep stage, is to reduce them down slightly and then apply fillers, which is quite an extensive job to do, but they will always remain in place. You cannot hide them. Basically, what you're looking at is like the lines of the skin of us. These lines are very, very similar to these lines. So if I was to put paint over the surface of my hand and keep flexing, these lines will show up. It is very, very simple. These are natural lines from the animal which we cannot actually remove. Even if we put filler in, which would bond, they are still going to come through and show again in time. Obviously, applying filler, you're going to end up with an extremely smooth, very plasticky looking finish to the seat. So it is impossible to remove what some people regard as a defective seat or damage to their leather skin. It isn't damage at all. It is clearly lines from the natural material, lines from the animal. That is exactly what you're dealing with here. So we've zoomed in quite a long way. Some of these are surface cracking lines that you can see. What that means, the painted coating that you see on the surface here, it hasn't been cared for correctly, and that has resulted in deterioration of the colour coating that sits on the surface of the leather hide itself. They then crack because they're cracking on natural, normal crease lines. That then deteriorates. If you leave that material as a cracked line, that will deteriorate the skin. It's a bit like getting a cut. You don't clean it, the wound becomes infected. It then gets to the point where it has to be, the limb has to be cut off. And this is what's going to happen here. We would have to replace the panel if it got to that point where the repair was beyond, economical sort of prices to sort of bring that back to life again. So you have to make sure that protection is prevention of what we're doing with the surface coating. So these stress lines, again, most of these will come out in the prep stage. Following that, a small amount of filler may be applied. Then we can recoat the surface with the paint and the clear coat sealer. What you also look at on the surface here as well is the lines are standing out because it hasn't had a correct regime of cleaning that's been carried out to the surface. So what's actually happened is dirt has compounded and got stuck into the grain and got stuck into these lines that you can see here on the surface. That dirt, grime and grease buildup attracts dust and small particles that then abrade the surface, wearing down the coating, creating further damage into the cracking on the seat, causing eventually splits to appear in the surface. You have to make sure that you clean the seats regularly, you protect regularly. The longer you leave a seat in this state, the more likelihood damage is going to take place, and it's going to be irreversible damage, and it's going to need panel replacements, which then loses the originality of the item and just creates a landfill problem. With what we do in our industry, we actually save the surface, we save the skin, and we are very eco-friendly because it means that nothing is going into a landfill, meaning that we are actually very conscious about our carbon and our footprint, and it saves that landfill problem. And we're retaining the original seat in the first place. If you need any help with anything to do with leather, then head on over to our website, leatherrepaircompany.com, and we are here to help you and to guide you to understand exactly what it is with the surface of these seats and the science behind them.